Hi guys, and welcome to Escape Your Watch Reviews. My name is Steve, and today we're going to be reviewing the brand new St. Martin SN0007G-X1. So I received this watch for free from the St. Martin Design flagship store. This is a new official store. I got the link from my typical St. Martin contact, so you don't have to worry about the the low feedback numbers and all that stuff. It's a legit store, so yeah, don't worry about that. I don't have to send the watch back, but you guys know the deal by now. That's not going to sway my review one way or the other. And as always, if by the end of this review you find yourself wanting to pick one of them up, head down to the video description. I'll be leaving a link for this watch down there. That is an affiliate link. You guys don't pay any extra. I get a little bit of a commission. It helps keep the channel going, so I really do appreciate it if you use those links. The current retail price for this watch is about $325 US on this bracelet, and that's before any sales or taxes or anything like that, any coupons. Currently we're in the middle of the anniversary sale, so the current price is about $280 on the bracelet. You can also save a little bit, I believe about $20 if you get it on the rubber strap. Don't do that. This bracelet is awesome. Or you can pay a little bit extra and get it with the Swiss Sellita SW200 automatic movement inside. The watch is offered in 3 different colorways that you can see on screen now. I think they all look pretty good. They're all sunburst dials, very subtle sunburst, at least on the green and on the black. But yeah, I think they all look really, really good. The watch case, bracelet, and clasp are all made of 316L stainless steel. It has a sapphire crystal, a ceramic bezel insert, screw down crown, screw down case back, 200 meters of claimed water resistance, and it's powered by the Chinese PT5000, or you can option out the Swiss Sellita SW200. So this is a very interesting watch. It's an homage watch for sure, but to multiple watches. Some people say that it's a CQ homage. Some people say it's a Wolbrook homage. This dial layout was very popular back in the 60s and by multiple brands. So yeah, it's not just a single watch homage, and it's a really interesting dial layout. I actually like it a lot. I think it looks great. I think they did an excellent job with it. The dial, the new bracelet, the new clasp, which we'll talk about, they're excellent. And I think this is a great watch all around. Yeah, I don't think you have to watch the rest of the review. If you want it, go get it. I think it's good. But I do say, let's get into this full review. All right, so let's get into the dimensions. So this watch is listed as a 38mm watch. We have 38mm right at the bezel. The case is slightly smaller, at about 37mm. A thickness of 12.8mm. 20mm lug width, end link to end link is 46.6mm, and with the protruding female end links, which we'll talk about in a little bit, the overall length is 50.5mm, and sized up for my 7.5-inch wrist with 2 links removed. It weighs about 155 grams. So I think the size on this thing is great. That 38mm is kind of my sweet spot. I think it's a good size for a lot of wrists. You do have a little bit of protruding end links here, so that 50mm overall length kind of makes it feel a little bit bigger than 38mm maybe. I don't know. I feel like it wears pretty true to size. But yeah, I think on a smaller wrist, that is going to make it look a little bit bigger. So just keep that in mind. But I do think it wears really good. You've got decent curve down to the lugs as well. So yeah, I think it wears nicely. I'm going to go throw it on my wrist right now. And here we are on my 7.5-inch wrist. And as you can see, it wears great. I think it wears small for my 7.5-inch wrist, but not too small. And I mean, you got decent curve down to the lugs there. The light play off that bracelet is amazing. The crystal, the bezel insert, it all just plays together really nicely. The on the fly adjust clasp, which we'll talk about later, is excellent. And I mean, this watch it's super comfortable. That's really what I can say, is it's very, very comfortable. And popping out in some direct sunlight here, you can see completely legible, no issues there, nice AR coating. And there you can see that little slight sunburst on the dial there. It's very, very subtle, but it does look pretty darn good. And I mean, I think this thing just looks excellent. It looks really, really good. I'm gonna go throw it on some straps though. And here we are on just a generic tropical strap. Yeah, I think it looks pretty good. This is kind of the other option if you don't want the bracelet, but you should get the bracelet, I'm telling you, because it's that good. Well, yeah, that's how it'll look on a tropic strap. I had no doubts that it would look good, and yeah, looks pretty decent. What do you guys think? And here we are on another tropic strap, this time in white, and again, I think that looks really good. Yeah, I'm always a big fan of green and white. I'm a big Spartan fan, so yeah, this one works really good for me. What do you guys think of that? And one of my regular commenters told me that this thing would probably look good on my favorite suede strap, which is linked down below. And I agree. I think that looks actually really, really good. Very happy with how that looks. What do you guys think of that one? And here we are on an elastic strap, kind of khaki and white. I think that looks pretty good. There's one layer underneath the watch right there. Still sits very comfortable. And yeah, I mean, this combo is super comfortable. I had no doubts about that. So yeah, I think it looks all right though. Got one last strap to throw it on. And lastly, here we are on a ribbed nylon strap. This is from CNS Watch Bands. Hopefully their website is back up and running, because these straps are actually pretty good. And yeah, I think that looks pretty good. You got two layers underneath the watch there, and it still sits very nicely on the wrist. Got a nice little turn down to the lugs there, so that helps a lot. And yeah, I think it looks good. What do you guys think of that? I say we go inside and let's get back to this review. Alright, so let's talk about the case finishing on this thing. And case finishing is really good. You have a fairly coarse brushing on the tops of the lugs here, circular brushing around here so it doesn't go up and down. And I think it looks really good though. You have a polished end to the lug tips here, polishing on the sides here, nicely signed crown with the St. Martin hex logo there. And I think it all looks really good. You do have drilled lugs, which is excellent. I love that. It's all very clean, all very nicely done. The polishing is excellent as always from St. Martin. Nice crisp transitions as you can see there. Yeah, I'm really happy with the case finishing on this thing. I think it looks excellent. Flipping it over to the case back here, you see you have circular brushing on the bottom of the lugs, circular brushed on the case back, just a sterile case back, no big deal. Doesn't bother me that it's not signed or anything like that. Nice big deep grooves for a case back removal tool to get into. Yeah, I've got no issues with this. I think it looks excellent. Nice and smooth. It doesn't, you know, these bottom edges aren't sharp in my opinion. I think this watch wears very comfortably, and I think you're going to really like it. Okay, so let's talk about the bezel on this thing. First, we'll start with the bezel insert. It is a ceramic insert, and I think it looks really good. Nice and clean and crisp. You have dots for all the minute markers all the way around, so nice and easy to read that way. Smaller numerals at 10, 20, 30, 40, and 50. A loomed triangle at 12 o'clock. Everywhere else is just white paint, but I think it all looks really good. It's nice and crisp. I mean, they just did an excellent job with the bezel insert on this thing. I've got no issues with that. The bezel itself, it's a stainless steel bezel. As you can see here, you have a circular brushing around the bottom edge of it. All the teeth for the grip there, that is all polished. I think it looks excellent. This top edge is brushed as well, so yeah, I think it looks really good. You got plenty of grip on it. So the bezel action on this thing, it's pretty good. It's a 90 click bezel. It's not 120 clicks. So yeah, it is pretty nice though. So there you see 7 clicks to the 5 minutes there. So that's 90 clicks. It is nice and ratchety, really loud clicks, pretty smooth. I can feel every click though. The alignment is spot on. Yeah, I'm not really sure what else to say. There's no play in the bezel up and down. There's no play in the bezel back and forth. I mean, it's just a rock solid bezel. I do wish it was 120 click. I just prefer that. But you know, it never bothered me that this was 90 clicks. I think the resistance is just about right. Maybe a touch light. But yeah, I think overall it's a good bezel. Alright, so let's talk about the crystal on this thing. We'll test it for sapphire. It is positive for sapphire. And it's a very nice crystal. It is a box dome sapphire, as you can see there. Really nice clarity in the middle there. Tons of distortion on the edges. I think it's perfect. Blue anti-reflective coating. It's a little distracting, but not, I mean, it's never really bothered me. But yeah, I think it's a great crystal. Super clear, nice legible. Keeps it down nice and crispy, and yeah, not a whole lot of negatives to say about that. I think it looks really good. You can see how far it sits above the bezel there. It's a really nice crystal, guys. Very nice. Very happy with that crystal. Yeah, let's get close and we'll talk about the dial on this thing. So the dials on these are excellent. They're lacquer dials, as I call them. So glossy dials. As you can see right there, you can see the reflection of that second hand sweeping around. Really nice colors on it. Yeah, I think they chose some really nice colors. I think the blue is a pretty strong sunburst, but this green, it definitely is a sunburst dial, but I mean, it is almost impossible to show, especially in the studio lights. You know, go check out some of my macros and you can see the slight sunburst. But yeah, so most of the time it just looks like an enamel green dial. I think they chose a nice color for it. Everything is printed on it, so there's no applied aspects to the dial at all. You have your printed minute track around the outside there. You have a printed San Martin hex logo, automatic 200 meters down here at the 6 o'clock. You have big bold numerals at the hour markers, the even hour markers, stick batons at all the odd ones. I think it looks excellent. I like the fact that they didn't throw a date in here. Very happy with that. The handset that they used on this thing are excellent, nicely sized, big bold arrow minute hand there. I think it looks really good. Nice clean finishing to them as well. Good size on the hour hand. You have that hex second hand here sweeping around nicely. I think it all looks really good. I think proportionally they nailed it, just spot on. And I'm happy to say they are using BGW9, so you don't have to worry about mismatch of the lume color or anything like that. So I'm going to pop up a lume shot right now, and here you can see it against a couple other watches in the collection. Definitely not as strong as the SN0007. I think because this is an applied dial, you know, that aspect of the lume kind of fades a little bit, but the lume is pretty good on this thing. So I think, you know, overall it definitely could be better. And I think maybe when they do an applied dial of this thing, if they decide to do that, it's going to be even better than this, but this is definitely not a negative of the watch. I think the lume is perfectly acceptable. All right, so let's talk about the movement in this thing. So like I said, the movement is a PT 5000. Here's how this one is running. This is honestly probably one of the worst running PT 5000s I've had on the channel, I think. I'm trying to remember. So I don't expect everyone's to be like this. This just goes to show me that San Martin is not regulating these movements. Most of my PT 5000s are within like 3 or 4 seconds. So this is definitely just an outlier. It's running very strong though. The beat error is minimal. I've had no problems with it. The hand winding and hacking works as expected. It is operated by this 3 o'clock screw down crown here. Nice grippy crown, good size on that. The first position is your hand winding, nice and heavy like the PT 5000 should be. So no issues there. Pulling out to the first position here, there is a ghost date, but they did remove all of the date aspects of it, so I can't feel it clicking around or hear it clicking around. So that's nice to see. Pulling it out to the third position, you have your hacking there. So this is a hacking hand winding movement. It's a clone of the ETA 2824. Yeah, they're accurate enough, usually, reliable. I've had no issues with them. I know some people have. I think they've kind of ironed out all the kinks of the PT 5000. You know, they had issues early on. I haven't had an issue at all, but I think, you know, I'm seeing less and less issues that we saw early on. So I think these PT 5000s, they're perfectly acceptable movements. You know, nice high beat, so 28,800 beats per hour. So 8 ticks of the second hand every second. So nice smooth sweep. It hacks, it hand winds, 40 hours of power reserve. It does everything you need it to do. If it ever gives out, you can replace it with multiple, you know, ETA clones. And so you have plenty of options there, mod parts as well. So yeah, it's a perfectly acceptable movement. I like them. I know some people don't like them, but I do like them. And I'm happy that they put it in this one. Right, so let's talk about the bracelet on this thing. And the bracelet is really good. So it is 20 millimeters. It tapers down to 18 millimeters at the clasp here. You can see it's a mixture of brushed and polished surfaces. Really nice linear brushing on the tops of the links here. You have polished beads of rice. They are done excellent. Very happy with those. These are all solid links as well. So yeah, very happy with how this thing looks. Polishing on the sides here, screw pins for adjusting. I had no issues. I had to remove 2 links for my 7.5-inch wrist. Yeah, it is great. They have female end links, but as you can see here, they don't pivot at all. So yeah, this is the second San Martin that I've come across that has female end links that don't pivot. So I'm not sure what's going on with those. We can make all the jokes we want to about it, female and male end links. I'll just leave it at that. They definitely don't hang straight down. So that's just a small little issue in my opinion. I think you're only going to really see that when you have, you know, pretty small wrists. So just keep that in mind. Otherwise, I think the bracelet is really good, and I'm very happy with the finishing of it. This bottom edge is nice and soft, so you don't have to worry about that as well. It's a comfortable bracelet, has a little bit of flex in it. It's great. Yeah, one of my favorite bracelets from San Martin so far. And talking about favorites from San Martin, this new clasp, it is excellent. So it is a brand new clasp. You can see there's no micro adjust on the outsides here. It's a nice thin, low profile. It's a little bit long, and I think for this watch, it's a little bit big. If they tapered this down to 16 millimeters, I think that would be a little bit better. But I think the clasp itself is very nice. You have a vertical brushing on the tops here with the San Martin hex logo, polished chamfers, brushing on the sides here, nice solid buttons here. It is fully milled inside, nice tight tolerances on that. Everything works as it should. I've had no problems with that. The big story here is the on-the-fly adjustments. So I'm going to try and show you this. So when you have it on wrist here, it adjusts smaller without pressing the button. So yeah, so you can push it in there, and to release it, you just press this here. So you got press down, and then you can pull it out. It works really good. Very happy with it. Nice clicky action. It feels great. It's excellent. And I measured about 12 millimeters of adjustment, so plenty of adjustment there. I think it's excellent. It works really good. Very happy with it. And again, there's no like sharp edges or anything on this clasp. They did a really good job. If they could somehow hide these screws here, I think it would make it even better. But even then, yeah, it's a great clasp. Maybe just a little bit big for this one, but I think the advantages of it definitely outweigh the negatives of the size. It's a great clasp. It's a great bracelet. I think it's excellent. Again, they do have drilled lugs there for your convenience. It's a great setup. I have very, very few issues with that. Like I said, you know, just the overhanging female end links. And then if they would have just tapered that down to 16 millimeters, I think it would have been a little bit better, but as it is, it's still really good, very comfortable, and I think it looks excellent. So there you go, guys. That is the San Martin SN0007G-X1. It's basically a new dial, a new bezel, and a new bracelet on their old 62 mas case. I think it looks great. I have zero major complaints with this thing. You got good lume and excellent crystal, and I think it is just a really good overall watch. So I think you guys are really going to enjoy it. Thanks a lot for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next one. See ya.